All right, good evening to my girl, Chiquitha Mayberry.
Mhm.
How you doing, girl?
I'm good.
You better than good. How you doing, girl?
I'm amazing.
You are amazing. You know why you're amazing? Because we are on here tonight to talk about, promote, celebrate a brand new book.
A brand new book.
Now, you've been writing these children's books for years. How many children's books do you have? Is it seven?
Seven.
Seven books. I mean, from the adventures of Abigail to Graham's house, and now we are here to celebrate your new book.
Yeah.
Would you tell us a little bit about this body of work that you're releasing?
Well, the idea of this has been something that I have had in my heart and desire to do for years now.
Yeah.
But I knew approaching 40 such a milestone.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous number. And I wanted to do that for myself.
Yeah.
For my birthday, for my 40th birthday, I wanted to finally release this book that has again been so deep in my heart, and I've been desiring to do this for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since
Yeah.
I wanted to find a way to do it. I wanted to make sure I do it correctly, and
Yeah.
I also wanted to make sure that I went through my own inner healing, because this was something that I knew that I had to revisit emotionally,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure that I was able in a good mindset to release it.
Yeah. You know, as your husband, I have had a front row seat to your process in writing this book, preparing to release this work. I have seen the hard work, the tears, the random moments of you popping up in the living room or in the kitchen saying, "Babe, listen to this." You know, I've seen everything that you put into this. Why now?
I think it goes back to I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah.
It doesn't trigger me in the sense of I'm gonna feel myself with regret.
Yeah.
But I felt like again it was important for me. I knew it was time when I was able to talk about it with not feeling triggered,
Yeah.
angry, or just tormented by it, or feeling less than, because sometimes those emotions begin to control my thoughts and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it was important for me again to do it once I found the place of healing and being able to being okay with just sharing, because I know one of the things that I even with releasing the book is I have received a lot of feedback saying, I wish I had the courage to do the same from other individuals, and I knew that it's important for me to be in a sober-minded place to assist them through their own journey.
Yeah.
So I think that it was important for me not to be not perfect, but I couldn't be as fragile to release something as much detail when it comes to what happens when you don't have a father at home,
Yeah.
and how it unknowingly shapes your character and everything else.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I was in a very sober-minded, mature, healed spot or place in my life to make sure not only I was healed enough for myself, but also in a situation to help others.
You went through a very personal, physical healing journey that I want to say I think played a vital role in your ability to write this book, release this book, do this work now. Tell us a little bit about that, because you look good. My girl look, my baby look good. You look, I wish I could, put a before and after picture on the screen, but we gonna share that on your page because you look good. But you went through some stuff that I would say prompted this healing journey, because when you're going on a journey of physical wellness, physical healing, it prompts some things mentally and emotionally that you have to walk through. And so I can imagine writing this book and going through that journey went hand in hand. You want to tell us a little bit about that healing journey? What started you on this journey?
Yeah, I think I'm very open and honest about just how many times I almost died. And it's not to be dramatic, but it really is, because it's been several times where I almost did lose my life. But I think it was important for me with going through that physical and just learning just different things that I was experiencing,
Yeah.
I knew that there was a root cause to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came out of my trauma. I talk about in the book how because of my trauma, I developed unhealthy coping mechanisms. And I think that a lot of times when you think of food,
Yeah.
and I know that it was important for me to go through what was it? Why was I making these bad decisions when it came to something? And some people say, well, it's just food, but it wasn't food. But it's almost like I picked up different traits when it came to it. A lot of times my family joke or my siblings, they joke, because I was the one like, I'm gonna steal these crap. I'm not necessarily steal, but I'm gonna put this stuff away for later. But it was more so of me. It was my trauma that was teaching me self-preservation, and it wasn't healthy, you know. So those are things that I talk about in the book, how that traumatic situation really created a character in itself. And so when it came to me and my lifestyle, I realized that it was still affecting me in my health.
Yeah.
It was making me make those horrible decisions, like I at the time that it happened, I was drinking what was it, a large pecan,
Lord have mercy.
coffee every morning.
You was getting them large refreshers.
It was in the refreshers, but it was almost like I knew it wasn't good, but it still brought I'm like almost like a satisfaction, but it was like a false satisfaction because it was still killing me. I know sometimes we like to talk about how we don't realize how often we are continuing to put ourselves in cycle. And so I had to take my own responsibility and say, I did this, but this is why, this is what happened to me.
Now, I don't want to minimize your healing journey.
No.
Because I think that it is important for people to understand how all of the dots are connected. So when you talk about my broken pieces and your journey as a fatherless daughter and going through all of the emotions of that. And you talk very candidly about your health. And that's one of the things that we don't really always take responsibility for, especially for believers, for Christians. We bind and loose everything, but we don't always see the necessity of taking real steps toward our healing. Because I can pray for you, but you're going to have to partner, for this healing. You partnered for your physical healing, which led to partnership and ability to step into some real emotional healing to the point where you can write this book without resentment.
Yeah, I think that's really what it was. I had to partner with what God wanted for me. And I think sometimes as believers, it's like you say, all these scriptures and everything else, but we don't do the work. Yeah. And when we don't do the work, you're not going to see the fullness of it. I know people who to this day still look at me like, how did you do it? I didn't do anything like a magic all I did was I partnered with God. Like I had to find God, you put me on this earth as I talk about everything that I experienced, but there was a reason. So I owe it to you, and I also owe it to myself to see the benefits of my creation, to see it all. And honestly speaking, there would be no way I would enjoy to see the fullness. I could see partial of it, but it was important for me to see the fullness. And sometimes the reason why we can't see the fullness, something simple as you just don't have no energy. Yeah. And I didn't have the energy. I had all these desires and everything else, but I just didn't have the physical energy. And I knew that with going through all those health battles and sitting in the hospital and everything else, I told God, like, God, there has to be something else. And I know that, sitting in those rooms, just losing my man because the medication had me hallucinating everything else. Yeah. But because it does that, because the doctors at the time, they didn't know. So they was trying everything to just try to figure it out because they didn't have the answers. But I also share how there was one doctor, what he said to me was, we finally figured out what it was. Now that we figured out what it was, you know how to do the work. Yeah. And so it was in that statement of me realizing he just said something to me that he doesn't even realize what he's saying to me. Now I know how to do the work that God has called me to do when it comes to my writings, but also having the strength and the stamina to stand there and prophesy. Yeah. I want to prophesy for hours, but sometimes I'm tired, but I realize that all of that
you're losing energy, losing stamina.
You lose it. And I think that sometimes as believers, we owe it to ourselves to partner with God for the fullness of it. And this is not to judge anyone else on their battle, but the reason why I'm so open and honest and saying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just following the unction of the Holy Spirit to make sure that my healing is not something on the outside, but this book is representing the healing on the inside.
Yeah, and you know what? As we go throughout this entire week of talking about the book and different portions of it, we're going to get deeper into some of the components of the book. But tonight, I kind of want to talk about some of your inspirations. You know, aside from your, physical health and everything that kind of led you on this journey, what were some of your inspirations? Because when you're going through a health journey, physical, mental, emotional, so that you can release a work like this. And it's good, y'all. Now, I've had an opportunity, y'all ain't been able to read it yet, but I've had an opportunity to read through some of it so far, and it is absolutely inspiring. Talk to me about some of your inspirations?
Honestly speaking, I think my biggest inspiration is my mother.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. Everyone knows, like, I love my mother. And
now get loud about this, because when you're releasing books about your childhood and your journey and all of that.
Yeah, I had to tell people, like, this is not one of those things like I'm trying to do all those things. Like, it's talking about my mother, but it's really talking about, like, she has always inspired me. Through every journey in life, I was always able to connect myself back to, in those moments, what my mother would do. And it wasn't to where she sometimes is like, no, I can't say that, or I can't do that. But it was just her resilience. And so when I even when I started thinking about and defining the word resilient, what a resilient woman is, I always look at my mother's strength and her tenacity. It doesn't matter what's happening in life. She's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And she may lose people along the way,
yeah.
in a sense, because they don't understand the journey. And I think that's what gives me so much freedom, is that if no one understands the journey, you do it because God has called you to do it, and you do it for yourself because you have an inner peace, because you're doing what you're supposed to do. And so that's what she has always inspired me. Everything that's connected has always connected back to her resilience, and me seeing her resilience of being a single mother raising 4 kids and still being able to just be, even to this day, like, I talk to her at least, a couple hours a day, but she has become that person for me that really has inspired. She continues to inspire me to this day. So,
I love that. Now, you are a mom.
I am a mother of 4 kids.
You have 4 kids.
And so they're a part of my inspiration.
Talk to me about that.
Because I think that it was important for me to know that they can admire anyone on social media, but I wanted you to live with someone who can give you the truth behind, because everyone can give a good filter. Yeah. But I'm going to give you the ups and downs, I'm going to give you the imperfections. But at the end of the day, I'm going to show you what it means to work hard for what you want. Yeah. And so they've seen me sick and taking medication and everything else, and just, so they've seen all that. But for them to see this part, I want them to see the reward of not giving up, the reward of being dedicated to your journey, as messy as it is, as complicated it is, as it can become. Being dedicated to your own journey is something that I want my children to always know. As long as I'm capable and able, my biggest thing is to always inspire them to not seek what they see, but see beyond what they're seeing, because that was something that I always wanted for myself. Yeah. I never limit myself to what I was able to see, but it was more so what I could see beyond what was actually there. Yeah.
One of the things I love, and I guess I'll claim them tonight too, about watching you with our children, is how you love them and how you teach them the importance of caring for themselves. And I think that is one of the important parts about this book. It is learning to care for yourself, because you talk about overcoming shame. You talk about overcoming, some of those traumas that have shaped and defined who you become as an adult from childhood, just because that's a part of the journey. But one of the things I love is how you practice what you preach, and you allow our children to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the journey. Yeah. But you also give that to other people that's around you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your inspiration for pouring into other people, and because you making TikTok videos and hey girl, if y'all ever seen on TikTok, girl, pick up the phone, we got to talk. All of these inspirational videos and things, and then with the release of this book and the topics that this book is covering, what do you feel is your responsibility to pour into other women?
My biggest thing is that I try my best. If I didn't experience it, or I feel as if I owe it to myself first, of course, but I never give advice outside of something that I'm not willing to do the work myself.
That's good.
And so if I'm going to advise somebody on anything, it's either because I've done the work or I'm doing the work. I don't do it because I feel as if I'm better than, but I do it because I'm okay with being there with them.
Yeah.
And so that's my biggest thing. I feel as if, you know, the girl pick up the phone actually came out of me one day, because I do journal a lot, but I felt in those moments of me journaling, this is something since I was younger, if I had a notebook or whatever, I always wanted to write and just wish, you know, just something, if somebody would pick it up, I would share it or whatever. But that was a way for me to find a new avenue to talk to the other woman that's on the side that feels lonely. Yeah. So me saying pick up the phone was something that I wish somebody would have probably said to me, like, girl, pick up the phone. Yeah. Like, you know, I know you're going through this, or I know you're experiencing this. And so that's what my foundation is. That's why I love doing it. That's why I love encouraging women. And I love to just even the feedback and just the applaud is like, people don't know me, but they just love the fact that I'm just so authentic. And it's something that I had to fight to become. So I think that's what they really see is a fight to be authentic in the world, to where everyone is trying to be perfect and trying to make up to where it has to be perfect in order to do it. Yeah. I would rather show you my imperfections before I figured that it has to be, you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, absolutely. I don't want anyone to feel like they're disqualified, because I know what that feels to be disqualified and not enough. So you don't do it.
Yeah, you don't have to get straight A's. You don't have to get it right all the time in order to be qualified or even to be effective. Sometimes you just got to do it and grow along the way. And
that has been my biggest thing. If I'm on the ledge, I'm just gonna jump. But I had to figure out to finally jump, and it took me years. It took me years of coming out of that shame and that discovery of what it is. It took me years to come out of that self-sabotage. But I also realized, and I don't want to go into much of the book, because we're talking more this week.
Don't give them too much. They gonna buy that book.
But I had to realize that my self-sabotage was connected to my trauma, because I didn't feel like I was good enough. So I would rather sabotage or encourage somebody else to do it, because I'm like, oh, I don't want it. But we always say, like, people who hide from the spotlight. But I hid from the spotlight because of my insecurities. And that goes back to, and you know, it goes back to everything. When you have an insecure, you know, position or anything else inside of you, you're not going to speak up for yourself. You're not going to advocate for yourself and your value. But that was something that I had to fight for. But my fight wasn't something to where a lot of people understood or even comprehend. But I knew that it was something that I had to commit to the journey and not give up.
And you've committed to the journey. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Now, I'm one of your biggest supporters. You know, I'm gonna push you in everything that you do. But when you told me that you were gonna release this book by your birthday and you were going to push this work out, I just said, God, give her the grace and the strength to do it. And you jumped out there and you did it. And I'm proud of you. I believe that people are going to be inspired reading this. I think it is more than just you sharing your personal story, your personal testimony, which is usually what books like this are about. It's just somebody telling their personal business. But you took the opportunity to share pieces of your journey, but turn it into inspiration. Like, you're asking questions and providing opportunity for people to give their own feedback and journal and things. Why was that important for you?
I think it's important because for one thing, and because of the journey that I'm on, I'm realizing that a lot of us are learning. We are just so disconnected with communication and empathy towards someone else's story. And so I felt like I owed it to my readers, especially those who have all of my children's books and everything else, and like, you know, so the parents and everything else, and especially the women. Like, I feel like I wanted to say, this is for us. This is not just Chiquitha's book. This is our book. This is our reward. This is our journey.
Look in the camera one, because I don't want you to give too much more weight, but look in the camera one and say that.
Not camera one. No, I really do. I feel like this is our journey. This is our story. This is our time. I always say, girl, pick up the phone. Don't settle. Don't do all these things. But it's also, girl, pick up the phone, because it's our turn. This is our chance to finally jump over those things that we have become so afraid of, and those things that we have felt like we weren't good enough to do it. But one of my favorite girl, pick up the phone moments, and it was just so random. I said, Tag, you're it. And in that moment, I felt it. It was like, wow. And so it's like, Tad, we are it.
Yeah.
It's time. And so that's what I wanted to make sure that I gave to all of my readers, and even the male readers, however it go. It's not just for, but however it go, it's our time to share our journey. Absolutely. So that we are able to understand your story is no longer just your story, but your story is needed for everyone. Absolutely. To enjoy and to find a healing from it.
Absolutely. So, and you're right. The book is not just for women. I want to say that men will benefit greatly from this book, this body of work. Listen, go to right now, theresilientwoman.myshopify.com and pre-order your copy today. Theresilientwoman.myshopify.com and pre-order your copy today. We're preparing for it to be released on August 1st. So those that pre-ordered, you'll have your copy August 1st, and then you'll be able to enjoy. Anything you want to leave us with, Mrs. Mayberry, before we get off of here and prepare for the rest of the week?
Thank you. I really want to say thank you. I know that I can, shoot a video or anything else, but I really, really want you guys to know, those who have been following me for years, those who have been following me since Mom Scope. What was it? Mom Scope. Like I have
and Mom
Scope and Mom Monday, and you guys know that my heart, my passion has always been women. Yeah. Not just motherhood, but just so those who have been there since those Genesis moments of doing that, and you guys are like so excited. Like, thank you, because you really did encourage me, even through this process of writing this book, when I felt, and I knew it was the enemy of him saying no one's going to read your book, like it's not needed, and all. So I knew that I was experiencing a lot of warfare with this. Yeah. But because of your prayers and your support, your text messages, your messages, and everything else, I really do want to say thank you. I wish that I had, whatever to give, to say thank you, to show you the level of gratitude. But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your life, your journey with us. Thank you so much for releasing this word. So many people are going to be blessed, encouraged, strengthened. I am going to take the challenge and read it, because you've been an inspiration to me, watching how you've gone through this journey and how you pushed through even when it was not easy. And so thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, for joining us. Our author, Chiquitha Mayberry, is going to be on every night this week with different guests, giving you guys a sneak peek in some of the other topics in the book. So make sure you grab a friend, let them know to jump on and get on that website right now to order your copy. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you the rest of this week.
Good night.
Absolutely, positively proud of